it's all about. Come on, let's make cash now. We always on spot, and we cover all spot from the bottom to the top. Hey, shout out to Ethan, shout out to Zed, shout out to Ben. Welcome to our podcast. Better in green.
All right, everybody, welcome into the Better in Green podcast. We have the March Madness bracket out, guys. I know I'm super pumped. Feel like we need some hype for it. So I'm Ben, and I'm going to introduce you guys. So hosting in the upper left corner, we have Ethan. And in our bottom left corner, we have Wyatt. Wyatt, Ethan, what's going on, boys?
Nothing much, man. Happy to be here. I have taken way too much time looking at this March Madness board, and it's really put me in a pickle, but I'm happy the time's here. Michigan and the NIT, they did not drop out unlike North Carolina, but still have the NIT going on. And then, yeah, this is debatably the best upcoming week of college sports. So really excited to be here and get going.
Yeah, hi. Great intro there, Ben. I'm glad I'm not actually fighting Wyatt because I don't like my chances there. I'd probably be, I don't know, a huge underdog, 16-1. But no, yeah, great time of year, favorite time of year. A little upset that there's no basketball on tonight, college basketball. However, I just got my ass handed to me the last 6-7 days, so probably good that I can't bet it tonight. And then obviously I got the Spartans 25 straight years. I even got the helmet glowing green.
Oh yeah,
just had to do it. I mean, we'll see how they do, but hey, they're there, so no complaints.
I gotta ask you, how does it feel to have a team in the tournament, man?
Yeah, I mean, feels pretty normal to me. It's been about my entire life. But oh man, I mean, congrats to you and your Buckeyes. That game hurt me. From a gambling aspect and just from a fandom. I had to shut my phone off twice that day, 2 different times for a couple hours. I just laid flat on my face in bed for like an hour. I was not doing okay, but
who's laughing now?
Yeah, I think in the long run that might help us. A couple days rest, but we'll see.
Well, Ethan, let's start with you, man. What are you looking at tonight? What do you like?
Yes, I'm actually just locking in a pick right now. Okay. 3 games I'm looking at for tonight. Again, no college basketball, so we're kind of limited to NHL and NBA. Just full transparency as well. I kind of mentioned it, but this has been an awful week for me. I don't know how many units I'm down, but a lot.
It was a rough week overall.
It was just horrible. NHL was bad started last week. Kind of took some time off. Only had one bet in the last 4 or 5 days, and I did hit it. So hopefully we can turn that around tonight. So speaking of that, I like the under 7 for the Sabres Maple Leafs game. Just bet it actually 2 seconds ago. It's minus 112. 7. It's the highest total you're going to see basically in the NHL. Sometimes you'll get 7.5, but super rare. Really hard to get to 8 goals in a hockey game. And I don't know the exact stats on this, but the under is hit like, I want to say it's like 16, 7, and 8 or something like that to the under on games that have 7 as the line. Obviously, Buffalo and Toronto both over teams, Buffalo especially, but again, just hard to get to 8. I could definitely see it landing on 7, 5-2, 4-3, somewhere in there. Just hoping it doesn't get to 8. So I like the under. And then, yeah, I have 2 NBA plays, but I'll pass it around here.
Yeah, I did all NBA tonight. I have a couple different player prop parlays, but I won't dive into them. Just a couple straight plays. I'll just start off with, I think, one of the weirdest ones. Obviously, have not really looked at the injury line too much, but I just love the line, and I'm assuming there's a guy, probably Kyrie or Luka, out for the Mavs. I don't really care who's out. If I see the Grizzlies again, minus 3.5 on the road against a better Mavs team, I'm going to take them again. I know we were talking about it last week, and my performance was terrible with the 1 and 2 on the big 3, but
all of us.
If you don't remember, I was going to take the Grizzlies because that was a weird line against Golden State. And of course they find a way to win it. So I'm going to take the Grizzlies again. -3.5 right now on the road against Dallas. For some reason, without Ja, they keep winning. And obviously, Ja's a whole world of his own. But I like the Grizzlies. And then I do have a couple player props that I won't talk about, but they are on Grizzly players as well. So I think Memphis takes care of business at Dallas tonight.
I like that. Ethan, I actually have the Buffalo Maple Leafs under as well. Seeing both goalies allow 2.7 and 2.8 goals on average. So 7, I love that number too, because when you're looking at the 6.5, that 7 can scare you. But when you get the full 7, there's a chance to get your money back if it reaches that point. I like that a lot too. That's a sharp play.
Yeah, it's a great point too. I would not bet that under 6.5.
No.
Definitely like the safety of the 7.
Yes.
Because, 7, you get there somewhat often. 8 is just, God, 8's so hard to get to. This kind of sucks. At least we're not really tracking our Monday live picks, but I'm going to go against Wyatt here. I like Dallas plus the points. Kyrie and Luka both out. The reason, really my only reason, I don't cap the NBA too much until playoff time. But I do like the angle of the back-to-back, take the team that lost the first game and hit them the second time around. Missed my opportunity. I think I mentioned in the Discord I liked Dallas on Saturday night, I think it got up to 8.5 points. Didn't bet it because I was actually having a winning day, and I just wanted to sit on my profit and not risk losing again.
Yeah.
So didn't risk it. Would have gotten there. I think the Memphis Grizzlies won by 4 in that game. At home, I'm just gonna ride the streak here. That's kind of been working in the NBA this year and really in the last few seasons. So I'll take the loser of the first game to win, or at least cover the second game. So I'll take Dallas plus 3.5.
All right, yeah, we're lucky we're not tracking it because that was a low blow there. I'm going to go on and take another weird line. I'm going to take the Miami Heat -8 tonight at home against the Jazz. Jazz obviously are not great this year. They're right around 500. The Heat are a little over 500 at 36 and 33 on the season. However, they have not been playing great. I personally think the 8 points is too much for Miami, which is why I'm going to take them. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I need to get back to with not second guessing myself and just go with the weird line. So I'm going to just take another weird one tonight and take Miami -8 at home against Utah.
Nice. I'm staying on the ice right now. Hoping to kind of bounce back on my hockey picks. I'm taking the Dallas money line. Right now they're only -125. That's not bad at all. Jake, is it Odinger? How do you say it, Ethan? Is that it? Ottinger. Yeah, he's in net tonight. He's a monster. I just see them winning this one outright. I'm not taking puck line. This is just straight money line.
Yeah, I think that probably gets there too.
Yeah.
Debated that one. Guys, I didn't check our follower or subscriber count before we got on here tonight, but we're at 126.
I know. Our picks were bad this week, but as a group, Better and Green did really well.
Yeah, we were at 116 last I checked.
Oh, I think it was 115 actually.
115. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks all of our new and old subscribers, but welcome. My last pick, sticking with kind of my angle in the NBA here. Disgusting. I'm gonna puke in my mouth as I say it, but Pistons plus 3.5. It's just so gross. Yeah. I was talking to Noel in the Discord today. I'm like, I'm probably just gonna shut my phone off until this game ends, and then turn it back on and just check the score and see if I won or lost. I will not be scoreboard watching. I will not be watching this game whatsoever. Pistons at home against the Pacers. So I do like that they're at least at home. Same angle. They're coming off a back-to-back against the Pacers. Pacers got them in the first game. Lucky for me, the Pacers aren't any good either. But the Pistons are just in a complete free fall, which I actually enjoy. They might actually turn that into a good pick and kind of build around with Cade Cunningham once he's back, and Jaden Ivey and some of the young pieces they have. For tonight, I hope they lose, but cover that 3.5 at least and get me some money.
Yeah, that was, another weird line. Last I checked, a lot of dudes are out for Detroit, including Bohan, our leading scorer. And then I think a couple other guys are out. So it should be interesting. I think that's a little bit why the line is where it's at. I'm going to go also stay in the NBA. I'm going to try to go 3-0 in the NBA today, probably testing my luck. But I'm going to take the highest point total. I'm going to take the over in the Bucks-Kings game. Giannis is a game-time decision. I'm expecting him to play. Even if he doesn't play, I'm still confident that that over is going to hit. The Kings, I believe, are the highest scoring offense in the league. And then the Bucks, I think, are second or third. Also, Milwaukee, different from Milwaukee of years past. They do not play any defense. I don't know what's going on with them. But absolutely no defense out of Milwaukee. And then the Kings with De'Aaron Fox, just the fastest team in the league. And I like that to go pretty high. I like both teams scoring in the 130s in this game.
Yeah, I like that. I wanted to do all three hockey, but I couldn't pick all three games. I bitched out at the last second. So I was looking at that Bucks game too, and I'm going to take Milwaukee minus the 2. 2 points versus one of the best teams in basketball. I'll swallow the points. And Ethan, I'm glad you said that too, because we have this live sub counter right up here that I'm pointing to, and it's at 126 right now. That's actually live, and if you guys subscribe to us at any point during this, that number will change, and you guys will see you did that. Ethan,
exactly. Please do
it. Everybody needs to join the Discord, don't they?
They do. Yeah. I mean, we're giving out a lot of free plays in there daily. I mean, last week was pretty brutal for everybody, except for you, Ben. I mean, you killed the award show last night.
Dude.
But
was that I was on one last night, dude. Holy cow.
What, 6-1 or something like that?
Something, yeah. That's just the ones that I put in there.
Gambling is the ebbs and flows, so we're coming from the down. I would join now because we're probably about to go up here. So yeah, get in the Discord.
I got a warning. If you're part of any betting thing and they just only ever win and you never hear about losses, that's a red flag. That's a big time red flag. We're transparent here. We sucked last week, but on the season, we won you a lot of money in 2023.
Exactly. Yeah. If you don't see losers, they're probably full of shit.
Exactly. Okay, Ethan. I don't know how you want to do this bracket, but we can let the listeners know right now that if you guys want to do this bracket with us, you guys can find it on the Tournament Challenge app, the ESPN Tournament Challenge app. Look for Better in Green TC. The TC stands for Tournament Challenge. Right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 or 13 people in right now. If you guys join, it's free to join, and you win, you guys get $50.
So yeah, right now everyone in it has a 1 in 12 chance of winning $50. So yeah,
that's the good thing about
pretty good odds
these things early. Yeah,
especially for free. I mean,
oh yeah,
I'll take free all day.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you look at our picks last week, you think, oh, I can beat these guys.
Exactly.
Do we want to do this by division, or how do we want to do this?
Well, I don't mean to hijack the show quick, but
go ahead, man.
Before we get into a tournament, did you guys just want to take 5 minutes and kind of talk about some of the NFL, some of the the free agency legal tampering period opened up today, and
a
lot going on. I guess I can start if that's cool with you guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of moves made today. I'll start with my Detroit Lions. They locked up defensive tackle Isaiah Buggs and linebacker Alex Anzalone. I thought both were great moves. Just key pieces of that defense. You know, they're not huge names by any means, but really liked what I saw out of those two last year. So happy Detroit locked them down. They also got a corner, Cam Sutton, out of Pittsburgh, 3-year, $33 million deal. Detroit was really in need of a corner. A lot of guys thought we'd take a corner first round. That might keep us away from doing that. Ideally, we'd, in my eyes, take an interior defensive lineman. But I like the moves for Detroit. Some other moves going on. I really like Jimmy Garoppolo to the Raiders. Thought that's a great signing for him. I think he's basically Derek Carr, except he's a winner, basically. So I like him there. If they can keep their offensive pieces around him, shore up that defense a bit, I think they could actually compete in that division. Obviously, the Chiefs are king. Denver's going to be improved. Chargers are probably going to be pretty good too. So tough division there, but I think they at least compete. And then once you guys get talking about it, you'll probably remind me of a few things. But one thing I did kind of find interesting, and just because I love the guy, I saw Austin Eckler requested. He didn't necessarily request a trade, but he requested to look for a trade type deal. I saw 5 teams he was linked to. I can only remember 4 of them, but the 3 that I thought were interesting: Detroit, Miami, and Buffalo. I think he would. I don't necessarily. My brain tells me no, don't come to Detroit. My heart says yeah, that'd be awesome. But Buffalo, Miami, I think that'd be pretty electric with both those offenses. So it's just something to keep an eye on if he does get moved.
Yeah, that would be sick. I don't know how he would fit in Detroit because, as you said, I just don't know if it's a great fit. But just the prospect of having him there kind of, makes me tingle all through my bones. But my biggest thing today, which I probably prematurely jumped on, I don't know how NFL news works, but this one dude tweets out Rodgers is for sure gone. He has like 1 million followers on Twitter. Like, he looked like a reliable source to me, but then Schefter and someone else said it's not a done deal yet for Rodgers going to the Jets. That's, to me, I think that's a done deal. I think he's gone. I just think we're waiting for him to say it. And Ethan, I know we're NFC North fans, Detroit Lions fans. I just wanted to get your thoughts on, Rodgers has been ruining our childhood for the last 15, 16 years. And yes, Detroit beat them twice this year. They've been splitting with them in years of past. But what are your thoughts of Rodgers or the NFC North without Rodgers? Does that make you happy? Does it make you sad? Or does it open up possibilities for Detroit? I know they're already on DraftKings right now at plus 150 to win the division, which is first in that division ahead of the Vikings, which are up plus 220. But I just wanted to get your quick thoughts on that as another Detroit fan. I think Rodgers is for sure gone. It's not, I guess, official, but I jumped the gun pretty quick on that just because I think he's a goner. But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I think he's definitely gone. I just can't see him doing well for the Jets. Everyone's racing to put money on the Jets to win the Super Bowl, and I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. He had great teams in Green Bay, and he only won 1 Super Bowl that whole time, and I just don't think the Jets are that close.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I'm happy that he's probably going to be out of the North. That does open up the door. That probably puts Jared Goff as the best quarterback in that division, I would have to say. Maybe Kirk, depending on the day. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was texting a buddy today who's a Bears fan. The Bears were making moves, getting a Tremaine Edmonds out of Buffalo, and they got that other linebacker out of from Philadelphia. We were kind of texting each other, just saying, like, are the Bears and the Lions about to run the North for the next 10 years? Could be. So I don't know. I actually like Rodgers as a person, and I love him from a gambling aspect. I just feel like I have a really great read on his teams. Maybe it was the Packers, maybe it was him. I'm not really sure, but yeah, if he goes to the Jets, hopefully that continues at least.
Yeah, for sure.
That's going to be a tough division too with Allen, the Dolphins. You got to worry about now the Jets with that defense, and that team was good last year. They're just a quarterback away, so they get Rodgers. Even if it is just a 1-year deal, he's going to make that whole division interesting.
Yeah. Right.
I know the Chiefs, they signed Juwan Taylor today, so I think that means we're pretty much out of the Orlando Brown running, and I'm fine with that. I mean, we traded a first for him. We got, I think, 2 Super Bowls out of it. I believe he was on the first team. No, he wasn't. We got 1 Super Bowl out of it. But I didn't think that they needed to break the bank on him. I just really didn't. I don't think he's that type of player.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
I do. I was kind of hoping Zach would be here today because I want to know, like, how the Dolphins are on rookie mode with these trades. How did they get Jalen Ramsey for a 3rd-round pick? I don't get it.
Yeah. The only thing I can figure is that Jalen and the Rams were on great terms, and they really let him, like, basically decide where he was going.
They had to.
It's the only thing I can figure. Yeah, I'm sure Detroit offered more than a 3rd-round pick and some no-name tight end.
Yeah.
But, Jalen arguably he was a huge piece in their Super Bowl team, and he's been great for them. So I bet they were like, hey man, you want to go to Detroit or you want to go live in Miami? He was like, dude, I'm in Miami.
Yeah.
Probably how that went.
What do we think about Miami? Are they now the favorites in a division that could be getting Rodgers and still has the Bills?
I was thinking about this yesterday. I think they probably win the division, but I think the Bills are still the team to beat, if that makes sense. And I think the Bills are still going to know that they're probably the team to beat. I don't know. I see it as, I guess I don't have a great example right now, but yeah, I think they can make some noise. But I think the Bills, and if it came playoffs again and they faced each other, I think the Bills probably still get it done.
Yeah, I'm just going to take the Bills to win it and to just be better than Miami. You know, I still want to believe in Miami. I like their coaching staff. I like what they have going, but I'm just going to, again, the Bills are kind of that. They're going to be preseason Super Bowl favorites or the Chiefs every single year until Josh Allen decides to get old or go somewhere else. So I think it's just really hard to bet against Buffalo right now, no matter how good Miami is becoming and how young and how these defensive guys are getting. I just still think the Bills are going to be the team to beat, and I think they'll probably win the division as well. Hopefully they can. I'm always a Buffalo guy. I jumped on their bandwagon last year when Detroit went 1-6. So I'm hoping that Buffalo can pull something out. I'm still gonna kind of root for them, but I think they handily take that division. I don't think it's gonna be that close.
So you guys, are you both thinking that the Jets, even with the Rodgers trade, are still third in the division?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Patriots are looking at a long time of being basement dwellers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bill might be questioning if he's going to call it quits soon.
Yeah.
Hey, let's put Jalen Ramsey aside for a second. Dolphins got Mike White today, so if Tua gets another concussion, boom, we got Mike White, arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So
at least that first game.
yeah, exactly.
All right. Ethan, you want to talk about some college basketball, man?
Yeah, let's do it.
We want to just break down the first round of the South, and then Wyatt could do the East, and I'll do the Midwest, and then kind of rotate like that.
I was
leading.
Yeah, I was thinking I'll just run through the South, just give a quick pick, and then if I have anything to say about the game, just do that, and then Wyatt runs through his South, you run through your South.
Okay.
And then I'll move on. If one of you guys wants to start, I'm going to open up a new bracket here.
Yeah, I can start the South.
Okay.
All right, so South, Bama now is the number 1 overall seed. Obviously, they're going to win that in that first round matchup against whoever they play at 16. But quick note on Bama. I know they jumped Houston as the number 1 overall. Houston's lost to Memphis. Alabama's a very dangerous team. They have one of the highest scoring offenses in the country. They're super fast paced. They're going to be really fun to watch. I don't know come later in the tournament if they're going to have it in them to win it all. But with that fast offense, they're very dangerous early. It will be interesting when they play an elite defense. Because the SEC, if you look at the SEC this year, they kind of struggle defensively. They're not the Big 12. They're not, the UCLA of the Pac-12. They're nowhere near the Big 10 defense. So I think they'll be a little shocked when they start playing these teams that actually play defense. But obviously they're going to win that first game. Maryland and West Virginia, that 8 versus 9. I think that's a really good game. I'm really like West Virginia this year. They battled their ass off in the Big 12, by far the least talented Big 12 team. And Maryland is completely suspect. Maryland, I think they have fraud ran all over them. If you look at their record, solid Big 10 record, but I think they're 2-11 on the road this year. So very two-sided of how they play on the road versus how they play at home. Obviously, in the tournament, there's really no home court advantage. So it comes down to, what can your guys do? And personally, I just don't think Maryland's guys can do it. So I like West Virginia big in that game at the 8 versus 9. Complete honesty, before we get into all the brackets, I hate the Mountain West. So I have bet against, I don't care who they're playing against. I bet against every single Mountain West team. So San Diego State's the 5 seed playing Charleston at the 12 seed. I love 5 and 12 games. I think we all love those as the underdogs. San Diego State could be a 1 seed and they could be playing a 16. I'd still bet the 16. So I don't care who they're playing. It is Charleston. I think Charleston's 29-3 on the year. So really good offense. San Diego State, as we all know, slower tempo offense, really good defense. I'm going to take Charleston over San Diego State. Next, we have the 4 versus 13, Virginia versus Furman. I love Furman in this game. Furman has a 13 seed. I have them taking out UVA. Same thing of UVA. They're either national champions or bust. If you look at them the last 2 years, they've had 2 first-round losses. One was against a 16 seed when they were the only team ever to lose to a 16 seed. Furman, kind of similar to Charleston, really good offense, scoring 83 points a game. I don't think Virginia can keep up with them. If Furman starts getting hot, that could be a really big upset. So I like Furman over Virginia. Creighton, NC State, 6 versus 11 seeds are pretty much 50-50 in the last 10 years. You don't expect that, but I do have Creighton over NC State in this. I just think Creighton's playing really good basketball right now. A lot of people have them on their futures, but I'm going to take Creighton over NC State. Baylor, UCSB. I was really wanting to take UCSB in this one. I went with Baylor. Best backcourt, in my opinion, in the country. I think Baylor has a big run on them in this tournament. So I took Baylor. And then Missouri, Utah State. Again, we have a Mountain West team as a 7 versus 10. Missouri over Utah State. I don't care how good they are. They're Mountain West. And then I'm going to take Arizona over Princeton to finish off that first round in the South.
I like that. Ether, you want me to go next?
Sure.
Okay. I want to start off by saying thank you to Wyatt, though. Your TikToks and those little March Madness stats that you made, man. I spent some time looking at those before I went and I made my bracket. So thank you for making those.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm with you. Alabama beating either of those teams. SEMO, obviously beating Missouri. If SEMO makes it, they're going to get creamed by Alabama. Either one of them's going to get creamed. Maryland, West Virginia, that one was really tough. I think when I was doing my bracket, I went back and forth probably like 16 times trying to decide who would. I ended up going with Maryland, just based on some of the factors I was looking at. And one of the things on Wyatt's TikToks was don't trust that Mountain West. So I saw that San Diego State. I looked up Charleston, and I like Charleston a little bit. They're a little feisty. Yeah. So I went with Charleston for that one. I did go with Virginia. Their slow pace of play does scare me. If Furman wins, I'm not surprised. I have them going on, I think, to the Sweet 16 just because they face Charleston next. But besides that, I probably wouldn't have had them going much past this round. Creighton versus North Carolina State. I really like Creighton. So I had them going pretty far. So I picked Creighton. Baylor, UCSB. I went with Baylor. Missouri, Utah State. This is one where I was really back and forth on. I wanted to take Utah State, but same thing. Can't trust them. So I went with Missouri. And Arizona, Princeton, I'm pretty high on Arizona. So I went with Arizona.
Alrighty. Yeah, I'll keep mine pretty short. I have a few things to echo that both of you guys said. But yeah, Alabama for sure for me. I will say, though, when betting in the first round, I don't know the exact stats, but if you take that 16 seed plus the points, you're probably sitting in a pretty good position. A lot of public bets like to come in and hammer those 1 seeds to blow out the team, and it just doesn't happen that often. So I like Alabama, but might be on one of these 16 seeds to cover that spread. West Virginia for me in the 8-9 matchup, Big 10 versus Big 12. I'll take the Big 12 all day long in that. Like Wyatt said, I've been huge on West Virginia all year. Scrappy, great home court advantage, which obviously they don't have here. But then Maryland, horrible away from their home arena as well. So like West Virginia. I too like Charleston here. My fear is Charleston. I just feel like it's so public for an upset. But I mean, in March Madness, there's not a whole lot of public and sharp discrepancy as far as the upsets go. But yeah, I mean, Charleston, they've been good all year. They're in the top 25 for a good chunk of this season. And obviously we know the 12 versus 5 history there. I like Charleston to get it done against San Diego State. Virginia Furman, I've been going back and forth on this game. Would not shock me at all if Furman wins, because kind of like both you guys alluded to, Virginia is just so slow. If they get down 10 points, they just don't really have it in them to come back from that, which really makes me nervous. But I'm still going to take Virginia in this one. I really like this team. I love their assist to turnover ratio is insane. I mean, they just move the ball around so well offensively and really just wait to get their perfect shot. Pretty efficient. And then defensively, it's tough to score against them. A lot of shot clock violations, things like that. So I'm going to take Virginia. Creighton, NC State, tough one here. I'm picking on the fly. I'm literally filling out my bracket right now. Well, my fourth bracket. But
25.
Exactly.
Better use
until I make a second username and then I get 50. I'm going to go NC State here. Really, my only reasoning here is the fact that NC State, I think, has kind of been in this role before in the tournament. They've played upset. I know they've made a couple of deep runs from some high seeds. Creighton, on the flip side, has been ranked pretty high, and they always kind of fluster out in the tournament. So I just like NC State from years past. That game's going to be really tough, though. Won't bet it. Baylor, UCSB. It's tough. I really wanted UCSB too, but I'm going to go Baylor. Again, just Big 12. Really impressed with the Big 12 this year. Tough to go against them. Favorite pick of at least the South. Love Utah State. I love them.
I was looking, but Wyatt scared me off of them.
Yeah.
They haven't won in 3 years in the tournament.
The Mountain West, yeah. Hey, Utah State, teams that I look for, teams that are great shooting the three, which Utah State is, and then defensive efficiency, which Missouri is not. They're way down the list. They're one of the worst defensive efficiency teams in the tournament. If you saw Utah State gets hot from three, this game could get ugly, I think, for Missouri. And then, again, kind of wanted to take Princeton, but, it's just tough. The Ivy League, when they, teams aren't really prepared for the Ivy League that often, their style of play, but I'm not gonna have the balls to take them, so I'll take Arizona.
I like it. What region we want to do next?
We'll go to the East.
East. All right, you want me to start off again?
Yeah, works for me, man.
Okay. East. So again, before we get into it, I really like betting on teams that have finished their season off really strong. So we see two of those teams really soon in this East region. So Purdue, obviously we've been really skeptical of Purdue. They did have an impressive run in the Big Ten. Obviously, they were expected to win it all. They did win it all. They played Penn State, who was a 10th seed in the Big Ten and the Big Ten championship. But a championship's a championship. They also won the regular season Big Ten. It was one of the weirdest Big Ten seasons. I think they won by 3 games, which is the largest since I think Michigan, in 2013 or something. So Purdue kind of dominated. And I know the Big Ten was kind of down this year, but I think Purdue they could either screw us or they might be better than what we think they are. But obviously I'm going to take Purdue against the 16 seed. Memphis, FAU. Memphis is that other team. They just finished off the American so hot, just absolutely dominated Houston by 10 points. It was not even that close. It was like a 15-point game with 4 minutes left. It was never even close. Memphis is playing FAU, which is kind of weird that FAU got such a high seed. They're a 9 seed. I know they are 31-3 on the year, so that has to be one of the highest in the country on total wins. But I'm just going to take Memphis. They absolutely dominated the debatably best team in the country. They've been playing Houston close all year as well. They won the NIT last year. They're looking for revenge. They're playing really hot right now. So Memphis is one of the tough teams to bet against, but I'm going to have them big over FAU. Moving on, Duke Oral Roberts. This is going to be a great game, and I think Duke's going very under the radar this year. They finished the ACC great. They won the ACC tournament. They spanking around North Carolina. They beat Virginia by 10-plus points, beat Miami. This Duke team, I think, could surprise a lot of people. They are playing a very good Oral Roberts team. This Oral Roberts team, I think, has one of the highest scoring offenses in the country, scoring 84 a game. They're 18-0 in their conference. We've known about them in years of past. Ben probably knows them not so well because of the 15 versus 2. Or sorry, you do know them. You don't have big thoughts on them with the upset. But Oral Roberts, I think, is in a great upset spot. I think it's a little too over talked about, though. I'm going to have Duke to win the game. That's not the upset I'm going to see. Next, we have Tennessee, Louisiana. Again, this is a weird matchup. No one really talked about Louisiana this year. I made a TikTok today to never bet against the Raging Cajuns. It's a tough team. Tennessee has the #1 overall defense in the country. However, Tennessee's sucked the last couple of weeks. They're not playing good basketball. However, they are the better team. I'm going to lean against my TikTok here and take Tennessee over that game. I do think it's going to be extremely close. Moving on, again, that 6 versus 11 seed of Kentucky versus Providence. Again, pretty much a 50-50 bet. Kentucky struggled lately. I know Vanderbilt has been playing better lately, but they just lost to Vanderbilt in 2 of the last 3 games. I do not believe Vanderbilt's in the tournament. They are not. So I'm not impressed with Kentucky. They've kind of, been not very good all year. So I'm going to take Providence in a close game over Kentucky as that 11 seed. Kansas State, Montana State, not a whole lot to say here. I really wanted to think about Montana State, but looking at it, they played 3 respectable teams, and they've lost by over 30 to each of those teams. Kansas State, again, Big 12. I think the Big 12 is really respectable this year. So I do think Kansas State's going to win that one pretty easily. Michigan State, USC, big game for Ethan here. I think this is a very even matchup. If I was Michigan State, I'd be a little nervous about this. USC has some really good athletes. However, I'm just going to go back to the TikTok stat. The Big Ten as 7 seeds since 2000 are 13-1. The only one loss was Michigan State as a 7 seed in 2004. So maybe there's a little something there. But I think Michigan State's going to win this one. And then Marquette, Vermont. I know Ethan talked about Vermont a little bit. I don't know if he's going to take them, but I saw Marquette in person on Saturday, and they are pretty special. They're playing really good basketball, like I said, right now as well. Just won the Big East. So I have Marquette in that game pretty big as well.
I like those picks. I think we're going to – I try not to be super chalk, and that's in sports outside of the NFL – it's a little harder to start picking upsets, but I did pick quite a few in this one. And I know we've been kind of like trashing and clowning on Purdue a little bit. I had them going pretty far, guys, and I know that's probably not a super popular opinion here between you two, but I like Purdue a lot. Memphis, FAU, I got Memphis. The way that they looked against Houston, they just looked like they dominated. And then Duke and Oral Roberts. Part of me was I'm not super impressed with Duke and their games, and I can't pass up my favorite sentence in the whole world. Give me Oral. So I'm going Oral Roberts. Tennessee versus Louisiana. Give me Tennessee. Kentucky, Providence. Bryce Hopkins, the transfer to Providence from Kentucky. Revenge game for him. I really like Providence in this game. I think that they pull it out. Kansas State, rolling with them. Michigan State versus USC. I couldn't pick against Ethan's team, and I don't think they lose. So give me Michigan State. And Marquette, when I was looking at the teams that they've played and the way that they performed, I was pretty impressed with Marquette. I'm not going to lie. So I took Marquette there.
All right, yeah, I'm taking Purdue. Talked a lot of shit about them this year, but they're not going to lose in the first round. We'll see when we keep going here how far I have them going, but might be eating my words just a little bit. Memphis, I agree. Memphis looked really good. They have looked really good. I think this is a tough matchup for FAU. I think FAU is probably good, but man, this is a tough draw for them. So I'm going to take Memphis. Duke, Oral Roberts is my least favorite game in the entire tournament. I absolutely hate it. I wanted to play on Duke and I wanted to play on Oral Roberts. Of course they play each other. Oral Roberts with that Max Abmas or whatever. Who Wyatt you kind of talked about, took them on that run as a 15 seed. His senior year, has the experience. I'm going to take Duke, though. I think Duke is pretty good. I really do. I think Oral is pretty hyped up to make another run. Just don't think it's going to happen this year. However, I think Duke is going to draw a ton of money in the betting world just because it's Duke. So I'm going to let that just marinate, just wait for that line to get as high as it can, and I will be betting Oral Roberts against the spread in that game. Hoping it gets up to like 9. I think it's at 7.5 right now. Tennessee, Louisiana, again, was looking to fade Tennessee without their point guard. Can't think of his name right now. A little scrappy kid. But yeah, kind of like you mentioned, Wyatt, just haven't heard anything about Louisiana this year. I think it's a pretty nice draw for Tennessee there, getting the Raging Cajun. So I will take Tennessee to advance. Kentucky, Providence, tough for me to fade a blue blood. I think Providence, they've been lucky, very lucky the last 2 years. I know last year they were by far the luckiest team in the KenPom luck rating. I think this year they're pretty high as well. And I like Kentucky. I mean, they fizzled out in that tournament against Vandy, but I think they turned it on for tournament time. I think Calipari is just too good to lose this game. Kansas State, taking them, Big 12, like the Big 12 a lot. I'm going to skip Michigan State quick. I'm going to take Marquette. Not much to say there, but I do think Vermont could keep that one close. I might bet Vermont against the spread. Michigan State, I think they got a very advantageous draw against USC. I think they match up really well. Michigan State shot like absolute shit against Ohio State. They were the third best three-point shooting team in the country. They made 3 that entire game. Don't think that's going to happen again. I hope it doesn't happen. So I think if Michigan State's hitting their threes at even a decent rate, I think that matches up really good against USC. And USC doesn't have a big, dominant big man who really tends to hurt us. I mean, Zach Edey just buried us twice this year. Wyatt, Dickinson has our number every year. So I think Michigan State matches up pretty well with USC, so I will take them to move on with my head and my heart.
All right. We going to Midwest now?
Yep.
Midwest. Yep.
All right. I'll try to cut my talking as much as I can. First game, obviously, there's not a whole lot to talk about. Houston, I really like Houston still, even though they lost to Memphis in the American Final. Houston's going to win that game against Northern Kentucky. Iowa, Auburn. So besides the 7-10 games, I'm really low on the Big Ten this year. Iowa, I don't know why they're an 8 seed. I think Penn State's better than Iowa. I think Michigan State obviously better than Iowa. I think Northwestern's better than Iowa. Illinois I think is better than Iowa. I just don't think Iowa's legit. They score a crap load of points, but they can't really – I don't know. I just don't think they're a really solid team. We've seen them in years past lose blowout games as well early in the first round. So I like Auburn big as a 9 seed over Iowa. Also to be remembered, in the last 4 years, I think 9 seeds are 11-4 over, or 11-5 over 8 seeds. So I do like Auburn in that position. Miami Drake. So Miami Drake and Indiana Kent State. These are my favorite games of the whole board. They are back-to-back, same region, but I have both underdogs. I have Drake over Miami, and I'm taking Kent State over Indiana. Miami, again, really high-scoring offense. Drake, if you look at Drake this year, they are unreal. I love watching this team. They're so well coached, so disciplined. Really solid offense, 75 points per game. Defensively, they're only allowing teams to score 63 points. As we all know, Miami has one of the highest scoring offenses in the ACC, but I like Drake here, and I think they can definitely win this game outright. Moving on to Kent State. Kent State's my favorite team in this whole bracket. They are crazy if you watch them. They've played a lot of close games with respectable teams. They lost to Houston by 5, Gonzaga by 7, Charleston by 2, beat Toledo twice, who is playing Michigan in the NIT. I just really like Kent State this year. And again, I'm not dissing the Big Ten, but throughout the history of the last couple of years, the Big Ten has sucked in the tournament. They've always had really big upsets. So I like Kent State to take out Indiana. And I'm not going to spoil everything, but I do have Kent State in my Sweet 16. Moving on, Iowa State, Mississippi State, or Pittsburgh. I have talked crap about Iowa State all year. Unfortunately, they started to play really good the last couple of weeks. However, I am going to take whoever wins that game, that play-in game, Mississippi State, Pittsburgh. I'm going to take them over Iowa State. I'm hoping it's Mississippi State. I think they're a better team than Pittsburgh, but either or, I'm taking that 11 team over the 6. Xavier, Kennesaw State, however you pronounce that, Kennesaw. I'm going to take Xavier. Not very high on Xavier, but I think they're going to win that game. Texas A&M versus Penn State. Texas A&M, very similar to that Memphis team, really starting to play really good right now. If you look, I believe in the SEC, the past 2 weeks had the best record in the SEC, one of the best records in the country. They found themselves in the top 25 really late in the year with, having a terrible start, but they found their way. And again, I think Penn State's a little bit of frauds. I don't know why they got in, but I like Texas A&M over them. And then Texas, Colgate, going to take Texas, but that could be a sneaky spot for Colgate in that one. Texas just won a huge game against Kansas in the Big 12 championship. Very big letdown spot for them. Don't know a whole lot about Colgate, but I could see that could be a really big potential upset. So keep that one in mind, but I'm going to take Texas for right now. But that could very well be a 2/15 or a 15/2 this year.
Yeah, I don't have. I'm pretty chalk with this bracket. I'm not gonna lie. So I got Houston. I think everybody's gonna have Houston winning this first game. I went with Iowa over Auburn. It's more because I dislike Auburn more than Iowa. It's not me liking Iowa. Miami Drake. I had to go with Miami. Thinking back to our conversations with Zach when he thought they had a chance to win this whole tournament. Miami, I've been seeing a lot of stuff about Drake coming out, and I think that is going to be a very tough game for them. But I do think Miami pulls it off. Indiana, Ethan, I think you had them winning the Big Ten, correct?
Sure did.
I like Indiana a lot. I'm gonna put that behind me, put that in the memory bank, and just move forward. I'm taking Indiana. I just think that historically they're a great team. They're going to be a good coach team. I have them beating Kent State here. Iowa State versus the 11 seed. Why I think you said everything that needed to be said about that one. I just went with Iowa State because I don't know as much about college basketball, so I just went with them there. I like Iowa State personally too. I saw that Kennesaw State, I think they only won one game 2 years ago, and they have the same coach, so he's completely turned that team around and now has them in the tournament. I think getting to the tournament is, you see teams in the professional sports where they're not doing very well, and then when they make the playoffs, it's like, okay, that is your achievement. That's kind of what I thought the Jags would be this year. Okay, we made the playoffs. That's as far as we go. That's kind of what I see with Kennesaw. So I have Xavier moving on. Texas A&M and Penn State. I had Penn State initially. I think that they're going to be able to make this a tough game. I did switch to Texas A&M, and I have Texas beating Colgate. I think Texas is a solid team.
All right, to round out the Midwest, I am almost exactly in lockstep with Wyatt here. Houston for sure. I actually like Iowa over Auburn. That's about our one difference here. Just simply because they can get hot from three. I think Chris Murray is a great player. He can kind of take over the game. And if they're hitting their shots, they're just a tough out. But Wyatt, like you said, this is probably my third or fourth year in a row now doing this with Iowa. I usually have them in like my Elite Eight because they can just get so hot from three. They never hardly make the Sweet 16. So wouldn't shock me at all if Auburn wins. I'm just banking on Iowa actually hitting some shots in this game. Drake for me. I like Drake as the 12 seed over Miami. Miami does have those two guards who are just phenomenal, shoot the lights out. But I think Drake gets it done. I actually like Kent State as well over IU. Jumping off the IU train, they hurt me. Yeah, don't know the exact stat on this, but heard something about whoever wins the MAC tournament has advanced in the first round. Don't remember the exact number, but an incredible amount of years. So I like Kent State to get it done. I like Pittsburgh to beat Mississippi State in the playing game, and I like Pittsburgh to advance over Iowa State in that game. Been talking Big 12 this whole time, but just think Iowa doesn't have the offensive firepower to keep up with Pitt or Mississippi State. There's also usually one of the playing teams that makes a little run, and I think this is probably the most advantageous spot for it here, so I'm going to take the upset. I'm very tempted to take Kennesaw State just because there's always that one team where I'm like, well, I never even thought of that team to get the upset. It's probably them this year, or a number of teams I'm not even thinking of, but I will take Xavier with, I think they have that old Arizona coach, Sean Miller, I believe is his name. He's had some success before. Xavier's had success in the tournament, so I like them here. This is one of my favorite games of the tournament, Texas A&M Penn State. I think it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. I think Texas A&M got shafted the most of any team in this tournament. Can't believe they're a 7 seed. I thought they'd be at least a 5. My fear here, I'm going to take Texas A&M, but my fear is that they just looked awful when they fell behind against Alabama. They cannot go trading threes with any team. And now they get Penn State, who's one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the country, hot as could be right now. But I just think Texas A&M is better than their seeding. I think they're arguably a top 15 team in the entire country right now. So I'm going to take Texas A&M, but if Penn State's hitting their shots, that's could be some trouble for them. And I am so close to taking Colgate against Texas. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to take Colgate.
Oh.
I think Colgate gets the upset. I think they're the surprise here. Like Wyatt said, Texas in a major flat spot, just destroyed Kansas, which I was very happy about. I actually got a rare win this week. I was on Texas in that game. But yeah, I think Colgate. I've looked at so many stats in the last 24 hours. I'm getting everything mixed up, but Colgate stood out in a couple of areas where I'm like, okay, this could be a team that makes a little run. So, yeah, I'll take a big shot with the 15 seed.
Yeah, it's from my experience, it's never the upset you think is going to happen. So it's never like the Oral Roberts. It's never the, I don't know, another example.
Drake probably.
Always a one you're like, there's no chance at that. So, but yeah, that for me, that's a weird game. I kind of really like Colgate, like with you. I think that could very well happen. Texas, again, really, really impressive basketball right now. But yeah, so that'll be a pretty good. I'm excited for that game, I would say the least. Finally, we'll finish off with the West. Kansas defending national champions. I think they have a very serious chance of going back to back. I have them obviously over Howard. Arkansas, Illinois. I'm going to go again against the Big Ten in those 8-9 games. I'm going to take Arkansas. They've kind of pissed me off in the SEC tournament. However, they are been a top 25 team all year. So I do like Arkansas over Illinois. VCU, St. Mary's. Again, this is that one of those, everyone knows about VCU. They made it to the Final Four with Shaka Smart back in the day. They've had decent tournament runs. However, St. Mary's, I think, is such a good team. They were very impressive. Not their last game, but very impressive against Gonzaga this year. I think this is St. Mary's best team in a long time. So I think St. Mary's is going to knock off VCU. I think a lot of people are going to be on that VCU 12/5 upset. I just don't think it's going to happen here. UConn, Iona. This is going to be another great game. Really good coaches playing here. Again, I think Iona's, they have that factor. A lot of people know them because of Patino. So I think that's a very bet on team. I'm going to go with UConn. UConn as a 4 seed, I think, is very scary. They were, I think, ranked 6 before they lost to Marquette. So the fact that they're a 4 seed means, they're technically a 16 in the APs. It's nuts to me because I think they could easily gotten a 2 or a 3 seed. So I think that UConn as a 4 is a very scary team. Moving on, TCU against Arizona State, Nevada. Again, I'm against the Midwest or Mountain West. I think Arizona State wins that play-in game. However, I think TCU is going to beat whoever comes out of that play-in game. Gonzaga, Grand Canyon. It's weird seeing a Gonzaga as a 3 seed. I love it. I'm taking Gonzaga this year, taking Gonzaga pretty far this year. But I think they're going to knock off Grand Canyon. Again, Boise State, Northwestern, going against the Mountain West. Also going with the stat of the Big Ten as 7 seeds. Again, they're 13-1 since 2000. So I'm going to take Northwestern over Boise State. And then UCLA, UNC Asheville, going to rock with the Bruins. Again, Bruins, just like Houston, seems like they're always in the Final Four every single year. So I like UCLA to go pretty far as well. It'll be an interesting matchup, UCLA and Gonzaga, if they make it. Because it's just not weird seeing them, play in the Sweet 16. But yeah, overall super excited. I think the West has if you're the Kansas or the UCLA or Gonzaga, you're screwed because that's, in my opinion, the strongest region in the tournament.
Almost all my picks are the same as yours, Wyatt. I kept looking to knock off the Jayhawks as early as I could because they've just screwed me so many times this year. But I had to go with Kansas, obviously moving them forward here. Arkansas, same as you. St. Mary's, same as you. UConn's the same. Love UConn's so good. If they were in a different bracket, I'd have them going further. I did do the play-in game. I think Arizona State or Nevada. I think whoever gets through has a good chance to beat TCU. Haven't been super impressed with them. I have the Dogs going forward against Grand Canyon. Northwestern, I really like Northwestern this year too. I have them going forward over Boise State and UCLA moving forward too.
All right. I'll try to finish that quick too because kind of going long, but Kansas for me, like Kansas a ton this year. Arkansas for me as well. SEC fading the Big Ten. SEC and Big 12 I think are just bet on teams and play on teams for this tournament. Agree with what you said, Wyatt. A lot of people are wanting to take VCU in this 12-5 upset game. I like St. Mary's here. Think they get it done. God, I'm so tempted. I'm going to take Ionia with Rick Pitino. I think UConn could maybe overlook this game. I don't know. I mean, UConn probably gets it done, but March is made for upsets, so screw it. I'm taking Ionia. This game I think is really tight too, but I will take TCU to advance. I also think Arizona State gets it done against Nevada. That's probably my favorite play-in game to bet.
Yeah.
But Big 12, I like TCU. I'm actually pretty impressed with TCU this year. Gonzaga is a 3 seed. Wyatt, you touched on this as well. I absolutely love it. They finally don't have that pressure of being the number 1 overall seed, the team that hasn't lost all season long. Absolutely love it. Northwestern, Boise State. I actually like Boise State. I'm kind of jumping off the Northwestern train as well. Don't love the stats that you were throwing out there, Wyatt, but I don't know. Boo Booey, when I watched him his last game, he just kind of he's all about him, it seems. He's not really a team guy. I liked Northwestern a lot most of this year because of him, and now I'm just I think he's kind of already looking ahead to bigger and better things, so maybe checked out a little bit. I'm going to take Boise State, and then I like UCLA as well. And then one thing I'm just going to touch on, I've already made a 5-unit play for the tournament, and I'll give it out. I make maybe 5 to 10 5-unit plays throughout the year, so huge play for me. It's Gonzaga to make the Sweet 16 at -132. I made it last night on FanDuel. I believe that's down to -128 now. Absolutely love it. I think the tournament wants it. The tournament wants the UCLA Gonzaga rematch, the Jalen Suggs shot. Not only that, but Gonzaga's like a 17-point favorite against GCU. They win that game, then you can hedge out in one game against whoever, TCU, Arizona State, Nevada, whoever it is, if something happens or you don't love it anymore. So really like the value on that. So 5-unit play, Gonzaga to make the Sweet 16.
They do hold the record 7 straight, longest in the current NCAA right now as well. Sweet 16 appearances.
I like that. Yeah, Drew Timme last year. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
I see it.
Before we close out, I am going to do the strategy of every single underdog. I'm not going to throw the $100 on it because I don't have that type of bankroll, but I think I'm just going to throw like $20 on every single underdog. I know last year, if you did that, $100 would have turned into $1,400. So I'm just going to do it. It seems fun. I could track it. It just seems like something I always say, oh, that would be fun to do, but I'm actually going to do it this year. It's going to be gross, but we're going to rock with the underdogs.
I like that. Do we want to just run through the rest quick? Just give out picks, not really much analysis, but just get to a champion.
The bracket, yeah, that's fine with me. Why you got time?
Yep.
Okay. I figured we could probably go like why you can hit the South all the way up to your Final Four.
Okay, yeah, South. I'll just go Alabama. I have Alabama over West Virginia. I loved West Virginia, but I think Bama is going to be too much. I actually have Furman over Charleston. Again, that's a 13 versus 12 seed. I just think Furman I think they're in a really good spot. I really like their offense. Charleston, as we said, is a fantastic team. Found themselves in the top 25. I think they could get a little overconfident if they win that first round. So I like Furman. They have no business of being there. Moving on, I have Baylor over Creighton. Again, Baylor's just better, best backcourt in the country, won the national championship 2 years ago. I have Arizona over Mizzou. And to round it down, I have my Elite Eight, and that one is Baylor, Alabama. And I'm actually going to take Baylor to win it out of the South to make it to the Final Four.
Let's see. I've got Alabama beating Maryland. I've got Virginia beating Charleston. I have Creighton upsetting Baylor. and I've got Arizona beating Mizzou. Let's see. And you went to the Elite Eight.
Yep.
After that, I have Alabama facing Creighton. Got Creighton going pretty far.
Nice.
It was initially Arizona, but I backtracked that one a little bit.
And then who wins that game to go to the Final Four?
I have Creighton winning that one too. I think Alabama is a very young team, and so I think if they catch the right team on the right night, then they could get jumped. And that's Creighton's my dark horse.
I like that. Part of me hopes you're wrong since I have them eliminated in the first round.
I know. And when he said that, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, so I have Alabama over West Virginia. I'm taking Charleston over Virginia. One last thing I was going to mention, just going back to the Charleston San Diego State game, tough travel spot in that one. Something I would look for is the West Coast teams traveling east and having to play early morning, especially now that we just had that time change. It's going to be 3 hours behind. So I think this game is like a noon start Eastern time. So that's like a 9 o'clock a.m. start for San Diego State local time. Could be tough for them. But like Charleston to advance over Virginia, taking Baylor over NC State, and I like Utah State to upset Arizona. I'm going to take Alabama to get it done over Charleston, Baylor to beat Utah State, and then I'm taking Alabama. Chalky, I know, but I'll take them to rock to the Final Four.
I like it. Moving on to the East, I'm going to go against the frauds. I'm going to take Purdue over Memphis. I think Memphis is in a great spot. A lot of people are going to be on Memphis. I think Purdue is going to shock a lot of people in that game. Again, I don't know how far they're going to go from there, but I do like Purdue. I have Duke over Tennessee. Again, I'm just trusting that Duke's playing well right now. I have Kansas State over Providence. Solely, I'm taking the Big 12 over the Big East there. And then I am going to do something weird here for Ethan, not for him, but he's going to appreciate it. I actually have Michigan State over Marquette to make it to that Sweet 16. From there, I'm actually picking Duke over Purdue, and I'm going to pick K-State over Michigan State. Ultimately, I have Duke back to the Final Four for the second consecutive year.
I've got Purdue beating Memphis. My oral ends with Tennessee. Kansas State beats Providence, and I've got Marquette beating Michigan State. Then I got Purdue beating Tennessee, Marquette beating Kansas State, and ultimately Purdue being the one that makes it to the Final Four.
Alrighty, I said Purdue would not make the Sweet 16 this year, and I'm going to backtrack because I do think that some of the other players have stepped up for that team. It's not just the Edey show anymore. So I think they have grown and gotten better with some of their side players, if you will. So I'll take Purdue to actually advance to the Sweet 16 over Memphis. I like Duke over Tennessee. I think the loss of that point guard just really hurts Tennessee. I like Kentucky over Kansas State. Love the Big 12, but I'm actually not super impressed with Kansas State. Turn the ball over way too much. I think that gets the best of them. I too like Michigan State to beat Marquette. I think that's another good matchup. I like the 7 seed for Michigan State. They've had success there before under Tom Izzo. Just kind of like the underrated seed there. So I like that. I like Duke to get past Purdue. Everyone loves a good Duke, Michigan State March Madness game. I'm not going to take it, though. I like Kentucky to beat Michigan State in the Sweet 16. That's a revenge game. Michigan State beat Kentucky early in the year in double overtime. And then I am sending Duke as well to my Final Four.
All righty. Going up to the Midwest, I have Houston over Auburn. I said I had Kent State in my Sweet 16, which is true. I have them over Drake. I'm actually going to take the 11 seed. Hopefully, again, it's Mississippi State. I'm going to take them over Xavier. And then I do have Texas A&M over Texas. Again, I'm just trusting the hot team there. From there, I have Texas A&M over that 11 seed play-in team. Again, hopefully it's Mississippi State. And then I do have Houston over Kent State. Ultimately, I have Texas A&M in my Final Four over Houston in that Elite Eight game.
I've got Houston beating Iowa, and then Indiana beating Miami. Xavier beats Iowa State, and Texas beating Texas A&M. Then I have Indiana upsetting Houston and Texas beating Xavier. And then to get in the Final Four, I have Texas beating Indiana.
All right, this is off the wall. I'm just, again, creating this as we go, and I already hate it. We'll not be putting this one in for any money, but I like Houston over Iowa. I like Kent State to get it done over Drake. Xavier to get it done over the playing team. I'm going to say Pittsburgh. And then like Texas A&M over Colgate. I then like Kent State to upset Houston, move to the Elite Eight. I like Texas A&M over Xavier, and I also Wyatt. We're kind of in lockstep again. I like A&M to go to the Final Four.
God dang.
None of us picked Houston.
No, I mean, yeah, I don't know. But I think that their loss to Memphis has really backtracked me a little bit. They also barely squeaked out the game prior to that as well.
They also lost Marcus Sasser to that groin.
Yeah, so
I don't know how long he's out.
I think they're going to struggle a little bit. Again, they're very similar to like that Virginia team. Really good defense, offense. Again, I think they're 2 games prior to Memphis, they scored 60 in both those games, won like 60-45 or something like that. So again, I just don't trust the teams with the offense that put up 60 points. It's obviously, again, it's like win or bust. It's win the national championship or lose first round. Anyways, We'll finish off in the West. I have Kansas over Arkansas. I am actually going to take St. Mary's over UConn. I don't love it, but I don't know. I think St. Mary's can get it done. I have Gonzaga over TCU, and I have UCLA over Northwestern. From there, I have Kansas over St. Mary's, and I am actually going to take Gonzaga over UCLA. Ultimately, I have Kansas making my Final Four.
I've got Kansas beating Arkansas as well. I do have UConn beating St. Mary's. Gonzaga over the play-in team, and UCLA over Northwestern. That one hurt because I really like Northwestern. Once again, I tried to knock Kansas off with UConn, but I couldn't do it. I've got Gonzaga beating UCLA as well, and then I have Kansas beating Gonzaga. I hate it so much. I kept trying to knock Kansas off, and I was like, damn it, I just couldn't do it.
Wyatt, who is your Final Four from that top? Baylor, you said?
I have Baylor, Duke, Texas A&M, Kansas.
Okay. I mean, it's disgusting. It's like I'm just copying you, but Kansas over Arkansas, St. Mary's over Ionia, Gonzaga over TCU, UCLA over Boise State. I think we get the game of the tournament, Gonzaga, UCLA. On that matchup, I'm going to take Kansas over St. Mary's. And I am going to take, God, that one's so tough. I kind of like UCLA with Jaquez and Tiger Campbell's last year. I'll take UCLA over Gonzaga. And then Kansas for me as well over UCLA. I like Kansas in the Final Four.
All right. Ultimately, to finish it off, I have Duke versus Kansas with Kansas as my national champion. Back to back.
Nice. I finally get to knock Kansas off. I take Texas over Kansas. And then I take Purdue over Creighton. So the finals is Texas versus Purdue, with Texas getting it done.
All right, and I am taking Alabama to beat Duke, Kansas over A&M, and I like Kansas as well to win back-to-back national titles.
First time since 06-07.
Yep. And I'm sure because we lined up on so many of those that's going to go fantastic.
And it never goes poorly when we all agree. So
right,
especially me and you, I think we're cursed when we agree. So.
Yeah, man, too much of that Final Four was alike.
I'm loving it over here.
Not bets. Just picks, not bets. Remember that.
Yeah.
Right. But I like that. Gonna put the score in quick.
Do you guys have any like I liked Creighton a lot and I liked Northwestern a lot. Are there any like lower seeds that you guys liked?
Honestly, I like the winner of that A&M Penn State game quite a bit.
Okay.
I mean, Penn State is just so live or die now, I think, by their 3-point shooting. So, if they're hitting, wouldn't shock me if they make a run. I just think Texas A&M is better than their seed. I don't know. I mean, I don't just want to be the huge homer here, but if Michigan State is making their threes how they did against Iowa and Ohio State in the last game of the regular season, not the one in the Big Ten tournament, they're going to be an extremely tough out for anybody. I think their at least first two games are pretty advantageous as well. And I just don't see them beating Kentucky twice this year. So I think they would need to match up against K-State in that third game if they make it that far. Yeah, I guess those would be my answers for right now.
Yeah, I again really like Kent State as that 13 seed. 13 seeds usually do not have the luck like 11s and 12s have, but yeah, I think Kent State might be the team of the tournament. They could be the St. Pete's. Again, the MAC this year was crazy. They were scoring 80, 85 points a game. Like I've never seen the MAC conference attempt to play basketball like that. So I think they have a really good shot of, surprising some teams, hopefully getting late in the tourney. Besides that, I mean, not a whole lot. I think Michigan State's in a pretty good spot. If they do get past USC, I think that's going to be a closer game than people think. But I think Marquette's very beatable. What else we got? Again, Furman, Charleston. I think both those teams have a really good shot at making it to that round of 32. And then ultimately one of those teams, I think, will get it to the Sweet 16 as well. But I don't have any like crazy VCU making the Final Four or anything. But I think that's ultimately I really think it's going to be between Kansas and Texas, in my opinion, even though I do have Texas out pretty early. I just think the Big 12 is so good this year. I think one of those two teams is going to make it and win it all.
Yeah, I like that, man.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to say too, just for betting to keep in mind, I know last year especially, but I think years past, first half unders hit at a pretty nice rate. You're getting the butterfly effect with all these 18, 19-year-old kids playing in the tournament, a lot of them for the first time. You're getting neutral court games where, these kids aren't used to these baskets and just the lighting in the arena and all that kind of thing. And I think teams just come out a little bit slower. They don't want to, come out and turn the ball over 3-4 times in the first couple possessions. So I think first half under is a great way to look at betting. And then I think also total game overs could be a way to look, just because you're going to get those teams who are down 9 with a minute and a half left and they're just going to start fouling. They have nothing to lose. It's win or go home. So I think you're going to see fouls being assessed a lot more at the end of the game than you see in the regular season. But then also one last thing before, are we pretty much wrapped up here?
Pretty much. Yeah, this is
okay.
Last thoughts.
Okay. I do just have one other thing because, we do have March Madness, just a huge tournament, but we also have the women's tournament going on. And I just want to pose the question, since the year 2000, do you guys know the record for the women's college basketball tournament of the 1 through 4 seeds combined in the first round?
I'm going to guess like 90%, 95%.
96.
Yeah, they're since the year 2000, 362-6. Okay, 1 through 4. All 6 of those losses have come from the 4 seed. The 1 through 3 seeds, 276-0 since the year 2000.
I almost said 100.
Yeah, and
this is no shame on the women's, but I guarantee you, if as many people did March Madness tournaments for the men's as the women's, there would be a perfect bracket, because it's just the team. There's not a whole lot of variables. Like, you're not going to have a small team like, say, the women's, Kent State team. They're going to have no shot against South Carolina. Like the good teams are so far ahead of the lesser teams. So I kind of got into women's last year. It's a lot of fun. You literally just pick the higher seed every single round, and you find yourself in a pretty good bracket.
Right. Yeah, this will be my third year filling out a women's bracket. I literally don't pick an upset the entire time. Usually gets me like into the 97th percentile, which, I mean, down the stretch, like Sweet 16, Elite 8, there will be a couple. Obviously, It's like 2 3s, things like that. But yeah, first round, I mean, you're pretty money on that. But the reason I bring this up is last year I did a 16-team parlay, 1 through 4 in each region, hit it. That believe it or not, 16-team parlay gets you about even odds. but but I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. It's only lost 6 years. The years that it lost, the year 2000, 04, 05, 07, 2012, and 2021 were the years that a 4 seed lost. So, yeah, I'll be doing that again, waiting for FanDuel to give me my lines because I cannot wait to bet it. Something I look forward to every year. And I'm going to
when does that start?
It's like, I think Sunday, Monday, maybe.
Okay.
The first games. Yeah, but I'm gonna play around too. I mean, like I said, the 1 through 3 seeds 276-0. I can't imagine the odds are too great on that, but like still it hasn't lost in 22 years.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'll be playing around with that for sure. But yeah, just wanted to lay that on you. Can't wait to bet from women's
That's
basketball.
a great stat. Yeah, they're March 17 and 18 is that first round.
Okay.
So that
So that's
exactly.
Thursday, Friday, right? No, Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, those lines got to be coming out soon because I'm hungry for them. I want to build another winning 16-leg parlay.
I saw something on TikTok about taking like every game to go to overtime in the first round. Did you guys see that?
No.
It was really weird. I thought that's a super bad strategy. That sounds like a terrible idea.
Yeah, I mean, overtime's usually like right around plus 800 to plus 1200. So you would need quite a bit of those to hit. I don't know. I don't know the odds of how many first round games go to OT, but
Yeah.
I guess if it's 4, you technically are doing all right.
I mean, I assume you'd leave out the 1 v16s and probably the 2 v15s. That'd get you down to what, 20?
And also, if you leave those in, that could save your day, you know?
True.
That's like why I'm gonna do the underdog strategy, but I'm automatically gonna take out the 1 versus 16 just because I really don't. I think that was a fluke that year, but still, like if you kept those in, like that one year that UMBC won, you get your money back for the whole tournament pretty much with one bet. So
right,
it's definitely tricky because as soon as you start picking and choosing, you're ruining the strategy. But I think it's pretty safe to say this year, no 16 seed is going to win. But again, we said that in 2021, whatever, and
right, and the number 1 overall seed lost.
Yeah,
yeah. The thing about that, I just think is obviously the odds do not truly favor what the actual odds are. Because it's only happened one time. So I don't know. That's 1 in 400 or whatever the hell it is. Not that many, but yeah, you're not getting the true odds of actually how unrealistic it is.
Right.
I just word vomited all over myself. I have no clue what I just said.
You're good, man. You're good. Do you guys have anything else before we head out?
I do not.
Yeah, I think I'm good. I had a lot to say coming on here, and I probably only said 30% of it, but that's what Twitter's for.
Absolutely. Yeah, you guys see all of our Twitter handles. Make sure you guys go follow us there. Follow the show. You guys can see all of the platforms that we're on. We're on just about everything. Really trying to grow up that YouTube right now at 126 subscribers. So thank you to all you guys. And if you're not subscribed yet, consider joining. And we will see you guys in the next episode. Peace, boys.
See you guys.
Let's go green.